Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Srimad Bhagavatam review class. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kada Mahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamsha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्यैव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी नित्यनामिने नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधार श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today we'll be completing this first canto. We are on the last chapter. So last time we discussed how Parikshit Maharaj once, when he went to forest for hunting and to maintain the loyal order, so he felt intense thirst and hunger. He found a ashrama of sage called Shamika Rishi. He went there, but the sage was absorbed in samadhi, so therefore he could not respond. He could not receive Parikshit Maharaj. Out of the anger, actually it was arranged by the Supreme Lord. All the incidents which are happening now, they are all arranged by the Lord. It is the will of the providence that Parikshit Maharaj was so very cultured. He was the protector of the Brahmanical culture. He became angry, and there was a dead snake lying, so he put that dead snake around the shoulder of the sage and he left. And after that he regretted. The sage of the son of this sage, he came to know, he became so very angry. Out of his arrogance, he cursed Parikshit Maharaj that you will die in 7 days. So and then the child, he went to this father's ashram, and then he found that snake. He started crying. The sage, the Shamik Rishi, he didn't even recognize, he didn't even notice it. He just threw that snake and he asked, what happened? Why are you crying? So then the boy told what had happened. So Shamik Rishi, he really felt so very sad and sorry, and he very elaborately instructed his son how he had done a very, very wrong thing. And then he prayed to the Supreme Lord to forgive his son. So that was the last chapter. So now today we'll be beginning the 19th chapter, the appearance of Shukdev Goswami. So Suta Goswami, he continues the description by telling that Parikshit Maharaj, because he had done a wrong act, he had insulted a great sage, great Brahmana. So therefore he felt so very sorry, and he started thinking that how could I do such sinful activity? So he considered his own activity as very heinous and uncivilized. So therefore, very interesting thing now, this shows the mood of a devotee. So he went home, he felt very sad, and in 2.5 verses, Parikshit Maharaj is telling his situation, his mind, his consciousness. So he's actually repenting. So devotee, they don't justify their mistakes, they repent for it. Prabhupada writes that devotees are actually faultless, and accidental mistakes, accidental sins committed by a devotees are sincerely regretted. A devotee regrets for the sinful activity which he has done by mistake, and therefore the devotee gets purified in the fire of repentance. So very interestingly, Parikshit Maharaj, he says that due to neglect of my religious principles, due to my neglect of these principles, I must certainly expect difficulty. So very interesting, He says, I desire that the calamity should come. So Parikshit Maharaj is not only expecting punishment, he is desiring punishment. So this is very important to understand. He didn't even just expect, he desired punishment. Or devote, if somebody does something wrong, he may expect a punishment, but to desire a punishment is even higher. So this is attitude of a responsible person. In contrast to this, in the 10th canto, we see that Indra, when he made the mistake of trying to destroy the entire Vrindavan by showering rains, he felt repentant, and he went to the Lord and he asked for the mistake, asked for the forgiveness. But actually, acharyas say that he is regretting for his mistake, but he is not genuine, because after some time, he fought with Krishna when Krishna took away the Parijat tree. So here we can see that in Parikshit Maharaj, he is desiring punishment. He says, I may desire punishment. So Prabhupada, he writes in the purport that why he is desiring punishment. Because Parikshit Maharaj is thinking that if I get punished for this sinful activity, then I will not have to, suffer for the same sin in the future. I will not commit the same sin in the future. And if I am not given a punishment, then my descendants will also suffer. My dynasty will suffer because of the crime. So this is the way a responsible devotee thinks. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that, just like a person, if he does something wrong, his family also suffers. Similarly, if a person renders devotional service, not only he but entire family gets benefited. Tri Saptabhi Pita Puta, as Prahlad Maharaj, when he was asked by Narsimhadev, please ask something. So Prahlad said, please deliver my father. He was so very sinful. So please show mercy. So Narsimhadev said, what to speak of your father? Your 21 generations are already liberated. So therefore, Prabhupada writes, a devotee's son or any devotee in the family, it is a great blessing for the family. It is a great boon of the Lord. Nrityanti pitara sarve nrityanti cha pitamaha madvamshe vaishnava jata sametrata bhavishyati. Chaitanya Bhagavat describes that when a person becomes a devotee, all the ancestors who are in the Pitriloka, they start dancing in ecstasy. They are so very happy that in my family a devotee has taken birth. He will purify me, he will deliver me. You know. So Parikshit Maharaj, he is such a great devotee. He did some mistake out of, it was all arrangement of the Lord, but still he is repenting, saying, I am so very sinful, I am so very uncivilized that due to neglect of my religious principles, I have neglected following, protecting Brahminical culture. I have not protected the Brahmanas, and I have, destroyed God consciousness. So therefore, I wish that my kingdom, wealth, strength, riches, they all burn immediately, so that I may not have to suffer the wrath of the Brahmanas in the future. So this is very, very important to understand that Parikshit Maharaj, he is undergoing such a intense phase of his life where he is cursed to die. But Parikshit Maharaj, he accepts this as the will of the Lord. He is not complaining, oh my Lord, you protected me when I was in the womb of my mother. That was a arrow shot by a Brahmana. That time you protected me. Now another arrow is shot by a Brahmana. And now you are not protecting me? Why? So a devotee never demands from the Lord. So three lessons we can learn from this incident. First, devotee accepts the will of the Lord. How Lord is acting in my life, I will accept that. Second, it shows the importance of offending Brahminical culture. So Parikshit Maharaj, although he offended because it was the will of the Lord, but still, it is very, very important to be careful not to offend Brahmanas and the devotees of the Lord. And thirdly, how to see blessings in disguise. So Parikshit Maharaj, later he will tell that because I was so very attached, therefore Krishna came in the form of the curse of this Brahmana boy. And to accept the will of the Lord requires lots of maturity. To renounce everything what Parikshit Maharaj is going to do, it requires lots of maturity in Krishna consciousness. So Prabhupada writes that where wealth and strength are not engaged in protecting Brahminical culture, God consciousness, cow protection, there can be no peace. Entire society will be destroyed if these three things are not protected: Brahminical culture, God consciousness, and cows. So Prabhupada writes in detail about that in the purport. So now, as Parikshit Maharaj is repenting, so Shamik Rishi, he is also very sad and repenting, and he sends his disciple named Gaurmukha. So he had a disciple named Gaurmukha. So he tells, okay, you please go and at least inform Parikshit Maharaj that you have been cursed to die in 7 days. So please prepare for your death. So this Gaurmukha, he comes and he tells that, oh great king, actually, the son, ignorant son of our Guru, Shamik Rishi's son Shringi, out of his ignorance, he has cursed you and you are going to die in 7 days. And our Guru is, so very sad and morose. He scolded his son, but, there was no way to counteract this curse. So therefore, he has sent me to tell you that please prepare for your death. Parikshit Maharaj, when he heard this, he didn't become angry. He didn't counteract. He was not impulsive. So Suta Goswami tells that Parikshit Maharaj, when he received the news, he accepted it as good news. So very astonishing. Who will accept the news of death as good news? That is where Bhagavatam starts. That is the consciousness of the hearer of the Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj was already a realized, self-realized sage, self-realized soul. He was already a pure devotee. It was not that after hearing Bhagavatam, he became pure devotee. He was already a pure devotee. Otherwise, it is not possible to show such consciousness. To become happy hearing the death news, it is impossible. So Parikshit Maharaj, he accepted this as good news, thinking that, okay, this will be cause of the indifference towards worldly things. I will become detached. Virakti Karanam. Virakti Karanam means this will bring detachment in my heart. That's why he was happy. So Prabhupada writes, actually Parikshit Maharaj could have gone to the ashram of Shamik Rishi and he could have asked forgiveness. Why he didn't go? There is a reason. because the way news was conveyed to the king, with such regret the news was conveyed, Parikshit Maharaj thought that, oh, this sage is already so very embarrassed because of his son's mistake. If I'll go and ask forgiveness, he will be more embarrassed. He will suffer even more. So, out of concern for Shamik Rishi, Parikshit Maharaj didn't go. Even at the moment of his death is coming in 7 days, but still, Parikshit Maharaj is concerned about Shamik Rishi. That is a glorious position of a devotee. You know, the same thing we hear in the sixth canto when Chitraketu was cursed by Parvati Devi. Actually, Chitraketu Maharaj, he went to Parvati and asked forgiveness. Why? Because Parvati was very, very angry. And Chitraketu Maharaj wanted to pacify Parvati Devi. Otherwise, he did not go to Parvati to beg forgiveness and, you know, minimize the curse. No, he says, Guna pramaha etasmin kah shapa kah anugraha kah swarga narka kova kim sukham dukhameva. Oh, what is heaven? What is hell? What is liberation? What is happiness, distress? It is all same. It is all modes acting in the life. So therefore, Lord Shiva tells Parvati, oh, devotees of the Lord, they are fearless. Narayan para sarve na kutashana bipyati swarga pavarga narkeshu api tulyartha darshina. The devotees of the Lord, they are never fearful in any condition. So Parikshit Maharaj is concerned about Shamik Rishi. Chitraketu Maharaj was also concerned about Parvati. Therefore, he went and Parikshit didn't go. So to see curse as blessings requires lots of maturity. As we heard in the beginning of the first canto, Narad Muni, as a small child, his only shelter, his mother was bitten by a serpent. That is the greatest calamity and disaster which can come in the life of a child. But what is he thinking? Tada tadamishasya bhaktanam sham abhipsitah anugraham manyamana pratishtham dishamuttaram. He considered it as anugraha. He considered it as mercy of the Lord. So therefore, you know, Parikshit Maharaj, he understood that, okay, Krishna wants me to bring him to his place. So therefore, he is orchestrating all these events in my life. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that those who are materially poverty stricken, actually they are in a better situation to approach Krishna. That's why we heard in Kunti Maharani prayers, she tells, Twama Kinchana Gochara, you are the property of the impoverished. That means a person who has no possessive mentality. And Parikshit had no possessive mentality. He was such a great devotee of the Lord, you know. So therefore, he is displaying such consciousness. So after he came to know this, he renounced his kingdom, he renounced his family, and he went, sat on the bank of Ganga with his mind fixed on Krishna. His mind was fixed on the transcendental service to the Krishna. And therefore, he was not at all sorry or disturbed. So therefore, we have to understand that Parikshit Maharaj, he had the greatest of the achievements which anybody can think of. But in the ultimate end, devotees are not interested in anything material in this world. Na nakaprishtam, na chaparameshtyam, na sarvabhaumam, na rasadhipatyam, na yoga siddhir punarbhavam va samanjasatva virahaya kangshe. Vritrasura is telling, I don't want anything in this world. I don't want heavenly kingdom. I don't want sovereignty over this entire earth. I don't want even liberation. I only want to serve you, my Lord. That is the only desire of a devotee. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj left his entire kingdom, went, sat on the bank of Ganga. या वै लसश्री तुलसी विमिश्रा कृष्णांग्रिरेणु अभ्यधिकाम्बुनेत्री पुनातिलोकानुभयत्र शेषान् कस्तां न सेवेत मरिष्यमानः. The glories of Ganga is being described here. So this Ganga, it carries the auspicious water which has washed the feet of the Lord. Lotus feet of the Lord, you know, tulsi is offered on the lotus feet. So Ganga carries the aroma of the tulsi which is offered at the lotus feet of the Lord. Punati loka anubhayatra sheshan, purifies the three planetary systems. Who will not take shelter of Ganga? That is the glory of Ganga. Kastamna Sevita, who will not take shelter of Ganga? You know. So Prabhupada in the purport, he writes some interesting information. He says actually, Jiva Goswami and some other acharyas, they tell that actually Parikshit Maharaj, he went to Yamuna. Although Ganga is described here, but Jiva Goswami tells that actually, from a geographical location, Hastinapur means Delhi. Delhi means Yamuna is nearby, and Yamuna is considered more spiritually powerful and potent and connected to Krishna than Ganga. Krishna has performed so many pastimes in Yamuna. So therefore, naturally, Parikshit will go to Yamuna. So Prabhupada quotes from Varaha Purana also. He says that actually, if you sanctify the Ganga water 100 times, then it becomes the water of Yamuna. And actually, there is no difference between Ganga and Yamuna because both are Maha of the Lord. So this is some additional information. So King Parikshit, he decided that once and for all, I'll give up everything. He sat on the bank of Ganga and he decided to fast until death. That was his vow. And throughout his fasting, he wanted to focus on the lotus feet of the Lord, which can award all the liberation, which can free one from all the sinful reactions. Sanchintayed bhagavatas charanarvindam vajrankushadvaja saroruhalanchanadhyam uttunga rakta vilasannaka chakravala jyotsnabhirahat mahadridayandakaram. When one focuses on the lotus feet of the Lord, one becomes free of all the sins which one may have done in millions of lifetimes. So therefore, we can see the consciousness of Parikshit Maharaj here. Reversals are reversals if a devotee is affected by them. But if a reversal brings a devotee close to the Lord, that is actually desirable. Devotee is not affected by external distress because he knows that Krishna has personally orchestrated this for me. Therefore, Lord Shiva is telling Parvati that devotees are never fearful. Therefore, Kunti Maharani is desiring more and more problems in life because she knows if problems will come, Krishna will come. And Prabhupada writes in the purport that even if you think, even if somebody says, oh, Parikshit Maharaj did a mistake, still, even if there are accidental mistakes or sins committed by a devotee never goes away from Krishna consciousness because Krishna purifies that devotee. Swapadamulam bhajata priyasya tyaktwanya bhavasya hari pareshah vikarma yachot patitam kathanchit dhunoti sarvam hridhi sannivishtaha. Krishna, who is there in the heart of a devotee, purifies that devotee even if he falls down because of some conditionings. So even if somebody does some mistake because of his previous conditionings, Krishna purifies that. So Parikshit Maharaj, he leaves everything and enters and goes to the bank of Ganga or Yamuna. Now, Parikshit is not an ordinary personality. Just imagine if tomorrow, or after some years, if somebody comes to know, okay, the Prime Minister of the country is renouncing the world, sannyas. It will be a world news in seconds. It is just the ruler of one country. Parikshit Maharaj was the ruler of entire Jambu Dvipa. Jambu Dvipadhipatyam cha. So the news immediately spread all over the universe. All the big time thinkers and the sages, along with their disciples, they arrived at this place. Just like, uh, you know, all the big people, naturally they will come if they understand, if they come to know that, okay, this great personality is renouncing. So on the plea of making a spiritual journey on a pilgrim, they came to this place of Ganga. So Prabhupada writes, actually, these personalities, they were not ordinary personalities. They were themselves the places of pilgrimage. Bhavad vidha bhagavata tirtha bhuta swayam vibho tirthi kurvanti tirthani. They make the holy places into a place of pilgrimage. And these people, they are coming to Ganga on the plea of making a pilgrimage. So therefore, the devotees of the Lord are very, very powerful. Just like in the 8th canto, it comes that when Bhagirath, he wanted to bring Ganga. So Ganga Devi, she had two questions. She said, if I'll descend on the earth, who will tolerate my force? And second, if I'll come, then people will take bath in me, they will put all their sins in me. Who will purify me? So Bhagirath said, okay, as far as your first question is concerned, first, Lord Shiva will bear your force. And regarding your second question, Sadhavo Nyasina Shanta Dharmishta Brahmishta Lokapavana Harantyaghamte Angasanga Teshu Aste Yagabidhari. Oh, the devotees of the Lord who are sadhu, who are shanta, peaceful, who are pure, they will come, they will take bath in you, they will purify you. That is the glory of the devotees of the Lord. So all these sages who are coming, they are very, very powerful sages. Who is who of the universe is coming here? And actually Brahma Vaivarta Puran describes that when Krishna was about to depart from this planet, Ganga Devi again comes and she had a conversation with Krishna. So she's telling, He Nath Ramana Sreshta Yasi Golokam Uttamam Asmakam cha Gatischatra Bhavishyati Kalau Yuge. He Nath, oh Krishna, you are going back to Goloka. What will happen to me? Because people will come and they will take bath in me, they will deposit their sins in me. How will I get purified? So Supreme Lord, he tells, O Devi, please stay for 5,000 years on this planet. Kale panch sasrani varshani tishta bhutale papino papanyo yani dasyanti tubhyam snanatah. Please stay for 5,000 years and the sinful people will come, they will take bath in you, they will deposit their sins, but don't worry. Mama mantra upasak sparshat bhasmi bhutani takshanat bhavishyanti darshanat snanad evahi janavi. Very, very important verse where Krishna is himself telling, Mama mantra upasak. My mantra upasak will come, my devotee will come who will worship me with my mantra. Who is that? Srila Prabhupada. So Krishna is himself predicting the appearance of Srila Prabhupada. He is that foremost mantra upasak who brought devotees from all over the world. Bhasmi bhutani takshanat. They will come, they will take bath in you, they will purify you. So these great sages, the purpose of their visit was not to get purified because they are themselves the pilgrimage places. Why they are coming then? Because they knew that Parikshit Maharaj is such a great devotee. Now he's about to leave. We want to take darshan of Parikshit Maharaj. And they knew that, okay, Srimad Bhagavatam is now going to be recited here. Therefore they are coming. Who has come? Atri, Vyashishta, Chavana, Sharadwan, Arishta, Nemi, Bhrigu, Rangira, Parash. All the big sages, whatever we have heard in the history of our Krishna consciousness, all of them came. Parshuram, Vishwamitra, Maitreya, Gautama, Vyasadeva, Narada, everyone is coming because they know Parikshit Maharaj is about to go to the spiritual world. He is going to go to the Goloka. We don't want to miss this sight. We don't want to miss this, opportunity. So therefore, all the big sages came, not only the sages, all the Rajarshis, other saintly people, all the royal order people, they all came to witness this event where Parikshit Maharaj is going to go back to the spiritual world, because they all know. They knew that Parikshit Maharaj's great devotee is Bhagavat Uttam Tasman Namna Vishnurata iti loke bhavishyati nasandeho Mahabhago Mahabhagavato Mahan. Are he is Mahabhagavat. He is protected by Vishnu in the womb of his mother. Surely he is going to go to the spiritual world. So we should go and take darshan of him, take association of him. So all the sages, when they came, Parikshit Maharaj, he got up, bowed down his head in front of all these great personalities. Prabhupada writes a very interesting thing. And he asked for their blessings. Prabhupada writes, generally, at the last stage of life, this humble method is adopted by everyone. In the last stage of life, during the last moments of life, people, they have many regrets. So therefore, in those moments, people, they want to ask forgiveness for wrong things which they may have done to others. Srila Prabhupada, although he had not done anything wrong, but still, he called his God brothers and he asked forgiveness. He said, oh, I insulted you. I spoke many times harshly. Please forgive me. And all those God brothers said, no, Swamiji, no, Swami Bhaktivedanta, you never said anything wrong. So that's how Parikshit Maharaj, he welcomed them, asked for their blessings. All the sages and the rishis and the kings, they all seated comfortably. And Parikshit Maharaj, he told them of the decision of fasting until death. He had decided. But now, why is telling them? He wanted to get their approval. Whenever we decide something, it is better to get the approval of the superiors. It is better to tell the superior personalities and get their approval, so that our conviction becomes more and more strong. So that's why Parikshit Maharaj is now telling them. Prabhupada writes in the purport, any decision, however important it may be, should be confirmed by some authority that makes the matter perfect. So throughout life, Parikshit Maharaj was taking guidance from the superior. So therefore, in the last moment of life also, he was taking guidance. So therefore, if we have a habit of approaching superiors in our difficult situations, so naturally, during the last moments of life also, we will take shelter of the superiors. So Parikshit Maharaj is now speaking, amazing jewel of the verses here. Most famous verses spoken by Parikshit Maharaj to all the sages. So first of all, he submits his fallen condition. He says, Aho vayam dhanyatama nipana mahattamano grahaniya shila ragyam kulam brahmana pada shaucha durad visrishtam bat garhya karma. He's expressing his humble fallen position. He's telling, oh, we are, now it is very interesting. He's telling, Aho vayam dhanyatama, we are most fortunate. Parikshit Maharaj is about to die in 7 days and he is calling himself most fortunate. Who will call himself fortunate in this situation? That shows the mentality, consciousness of Parikshit. Aho vayam dhanyatama nripanam. Why? Because we are trained to get favors from the great personalities. Mahattamanu grahaniya shila. And although you Brahmanas, you are so very elevated that you don't even, associate with us because we are Brahma Bandhu, we are Shatra Bandhava. So out of mercy, you all have come. So Parikshit Maharaj is not thinking I deserve all of your association. No, he is submitting his humble fallen condition. But Garhya Karma, he says that just like uh, refuse, stool and urine is to be rejected as at a distant place. Prabhupada writes something interesting. He says according to religious principles, stool, urine, and foot wash, they should be left at a long distance. But nowadays in modern amenities, attached bathrooms and toilet, they have become the luxury, which was very much against the ritual Vedic culture. In the Vedic times, people would eat at home and they would respond to the call of nature in the fields outside home. Now it has become opposite. People go out and eat in restaurants and they, respond to calls of nature in their homes. So that is how we have become advanced. So anyways, Prabhupada writes, Parikshit Maharaj could understand that these all these great personalities, they have come because, not because of me, because of my great grandfathers, because of Pandavas, because they were so great devotees. That's why these sages have come. So therefore, he was very, very grateful to all the sages who had assembled. And Prabhupada writes, that he felt very proud. Parikshit Maharaj was proud of his, ancestors. Prabhupada writes that is the right type of pride a devotee can have. We can be proud of our parampara. We can be proud of our connection with our Guru Parampara. We should not be proud of our own strength, our own skills, our own material prosperity. We can be proud of our own parampara. That's what he will say in future verses. Apime Bhagavan Prita Krishna Pandu Sutapriyaha Paitra Swaseya Pratyartham Tadgotrasyatta Bandhava. Apime Bhagavan Prita, Krishna was very, very dear to my grandfathers. Therefore, he has sent you, O great sages. He has sent you, O Shukdev Goswami. Then he speaks beautiful 3 verses. These are jewel verses. Tasyeva meghasya paravaresho vyasakta chittasya grihesho bhikshnam nirveda mulo dvijashaparupo yatra prasakto bhayamashu dhatte. He is telling himself as sinful. He's telling, I have done such a sinful activity. I have done an activity of insulting a Brahmana. Para avara isha. Oh my Lord, you are the controller of material and the spiritual worlds. Therefore, you understood Vyasakta Chittasya Grihesho Bhikshnam. You understood that I am so very attached to my family life. Out of mercy, what you did? Nirvedamulo Dvijashaparupo. You appeared in my life in the form of a curse of a Brahmana boy. Yatra prasakto bhayamashu dhatte. And therefore, you knew that if I will be cursed, then out of fear I will detach from this material world. Although Parikshit Maharaj is already a pure devotee, a liberated soul, but he is expressing his humility here. If somebody becomes detached, naturally he becomes fearless. So somebody has fear because he is attached to few things of the world, either wealth, prestige, position, wealth, and so many things. Body, good health, bhogi, rog, bhayam, kule, chuti, bhayam, vitte, nipalat, bhayam. There's a wonderful verse which tells a person who wants to enjoy, he's fearful of disease. A king is fearful of becoming poverty stricken. Only one thing can give fearlessness. Vairagyam eva abhayam. Only detachment can give fearlessness. So generally, in this world, if somebody is protected by the Lord, then they consider it as mercy of the Lord. Oh, Lord, you saved me. Thank you very much. But if somebody is not protected, then they'll feel, oh, Lord is not so merciful. But here, Parikshit Maharaj was cursed to death and he is considering it as mercy of the Lord. It requires very, very high level of realizations to consider the problems and the miseries as the favor of the Lord. So Parikshit Maharaj is acknowledging the favor of the Lord by telling, I'll become detached from family life, and that's why Lord has sent you all sages. That's why Lord has sent Shukdev Goswami. That's how he is finding so many reasons to be grateful in this circumstance. And then he tells something even more interesting. Tamopayatam pratiyantu vipra ganga cha devi dhritachittameshe Dijopasrishtam kuhakastakshako va dashatvalam gayata Vishnu gatha. He says, O Brahmanas, just accept me as completely surrendered soul. Pratiyantu Vipra, Ganga cha Devi, and let Mother Ganga, who is a representative of the Supreme Lord, please accept me in the same way. Because Dhrita Chittamishe, I have caught hold of the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord. Dijopasrishtam kuhakastakshakova, let that takshaka or magical bird, whatever that sage has created, let it come and bite me. Dashatvalam, you all keep on singing Krishna Katha. Gayat Vishnu Gatha. I only desire that you all continue singing the deeds of the Supreme Lord. So devotee is not concerned about the externals. He is concerned about hearing Krishna Katha. That's how a devotee molds his life in such a way that the priority should be my sadhana should never get compromised. A devotee is not interested to stay in any place where Krishna Katha is not going on. Nayatra Vaikuntha Katha Sudhapaga Nasadavo Bhagavata Snashraya Nayatra Yaggesha Makha Mahotsava Suresha Loko Pinavaisha Sepyata. Even if it is heaven, a devotee is not interested. He is interested only in the place where Krishna Katha is going on. And then he speaks another jewel. Punascha bhuyad bhagavati anante rati prasanga chatadasraeshu mahatsuyamya mupayami srishtim maitrestu sarvatra namo dvijebhyah. Punascha bhuyad. Again, I am offering my obeisances to all you Brahmanas. Please give me this benediction. If by chance I come back in this world again, Punascha bhuyad, please give me 3 benedictions. Bhagavati anante rati. I want intense attachment to the Supreme Lord. Prasangas chatadashrayeshu. I want association of the devotees. Mahatsuyamya mupayami srishtim maitrayastu sarvatra. I want compassion for all the living entities. This is the heart of a devotee. These are the 3 principal limbs of devotee's life. Namruchi, Vaishnav Seva and Jeev Daya. To have intense attachment for Krishna, to serve the Vaishnavas and association of Vaishnavas and preach this message. So in this way, Parikshit Maharaj, he was perfectly self-controlled. He sat on the straw mat and he had already given the kingdom to his son Janmejaya. He was completely detached now, prepared to enter the spiritual world. So all the devatas, they were so very happy to see such detachment of Parikshit. They started showering flowers. All the instruments were being sounded, kettle drums, dundubis, anaka, and all the various instruments. They are all glorifying. The devatas are so very happy if some person takes to Krishna consciousness. As Lord Shiva is telling, यः परारम्भ स साक्षात् त्रिगुणाचीव संगितात् भगवन्तं वासुदेवं प्रपन्नः स प्रियोऽसि मे. So Lord Shiva is telling the devotees of Lord Vishnu are very, very dear to me. That's why he appeared in front of Prachetas without even being asked for. So the sages, when they heard such wonderful prayers of Parikshit Maharaj, they were so very happy. They approved the statements by saying, "Oh, very good. Oh, Parikshit Maharaj, you have done such a wonderful decision. You have taken such a wonderful decision." So sages who are naturally inclined to do good to the people, they exclaimed that Parikshit Maharaj, he had such opulence. In the fourth chapter, we had heard all the big kings from all over the world, they would come and offer their respects to Parikshit. Namanti yatpad niketamatmanah shivaya hani adhanani shatravah. That great king, he is renouncing everything and surrendering to the Supreme Lord. Because it is so very easy to get intoxicated by material opulence. But Parikshit Maharaj is giving all that up. And therefore the sages, they are very, very happy, and they are appreciating. Navaidam rajar shivarya chitram bhavatsu krishnam samanuvrateshu yedhyasanam raj kirita jushtam sadyo jahur bhagavat parshvakama. He says, so all the sages, they are telling, O Rajar Shivarya, O best of all the kings, it is not at all astonishing that you are behaving in this way, because you are Bhavatsu Krishnam Samanuvrateshu, because you are in line of Lord Krishna. It is not astonishing for you to act in this way, because your throne, which was decorated with the crown of various kings, you gave up all that. It is not astonishing. Prabhupada writes that foolish politicians of current times, they are so very attached to their temporary posts that they give up their entire life for getting that. They should learn from Parikshit Maharaj that human life is should be used for liberation. So therefore Prabhupada is quoting the prayers of Prahlad Maharaj, where he is telling that, oh my Lord, in this world, whatever happiness and distress, whatever good things and the bad things, people one gets, and people, they want to be happy more and more. They try to find so many ways to be happy, but the problem is dukkha tadapi dukkham. The solution to the problems of the world are the bigger problems than the problem itself. Only solution is Krishna consciousness. So therefore Prabhupada writes that Pandavas, they were not attracted by the material glare. So therefore we have heard in the 15th chapter, when Yudhishthir Maharaj came to know that Krishna has departed, immediately he gave up his entire kingdom. He gave up his kingdom. He made Parikshit Maharaj as the king and departed for the north. Similarly, Parikshit Maharaj here now, we can see, when he came to know that he is about to die, he also gave up. He gave his kingdom to his son Janmejaya, and then he is also now ready to go to the spiritual world. So that is the wonderful glory of the devotees of the Lord. And then very interestingly, the sages, they are telling, we shall wait here. We shall wait till the time Parikshit Maharaj gives up the body. We shall wait here. We shall wait till the time he is there and he returns to the supreme spiritual planet. We'll not go. We'll wait here. So that's how devotees are eager to help a person, to remind him of Krishna at the last moment of his life. So all the sages, they want to help Parikshit Maharaj. And Prabhupada writes that, all these sages, they wanted to see Parikshit Maharaj till the last moment, because they knew after he is gone, we'll not be able to see. So Prabhupada writes, when a great devotee passes away, it is actually a festival. Nothing should be lamented about that. But still, devotees feel bad because they will not get the association of a great personality. That's why they are sorry. That's why they cry. And Prabhupada said this should be done. So when the great sages, they spoke such wonderfully, Parikshit Maharaj, he congratulated the sages because the sages, they had spoken such beautiful, sweet words. So Parikshit Maharaj, he is so very happy and he inquires the sages, what is my immediate duty? What is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And what is the duty of a person who is about to die? ततश्च वा पृच्छमिमं विपृच्छे विश्रभ्य विप्रा इति कृत्य तायां सर्वात्मनां म्रियमाणैश्च कृत्यं शुद्धं च तत्रामृषताभिमुक्ताः. So he is asking, my oh great sages, please tell me what is my immediate duty. So in that he asks two questions. What is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And what is the duty of a person who is about to die? So Prabhupada writes, actually out of these two questions, second one is more important. What is the duty of a person who is about to die? Because everyone is going to die. Nobody can live eternally. Either today or tomorrow, everyone is going to die. So Prabhupada writes that actually Maharaj Parikshit he places these two questions to Shukadeva Goswami also. Same two questions. And the entire Bhagavatam from 2nd canto to 12th canto, it is the answer to these two questions. What is the duty of everyone in all circumstances? And what is the duty of a person who is about to die? Prabhupada is so very amazing. He does not wait for Shukadeva Goswami or the sages to answer, because he knows, what if the reader does not go beyond 1st canto? So he gives the solution that devotional service is the only duty of a person in all circumstances. And it is a duty of a person who is about to die. So Parikshit Maharaj, he was already aware of this fact. He knew that devotional service is a supreme. We also came to know after coming to Krishna consciousness in few months. Parikshit Maharaj is born in the family of Pandavas, the greatest of the devotees. Will he not know? He knows everything. But still, he wants to, approve, get his convictions approved by the great authorities. So our convictions should be approved by the authorities. That's why Parikshit Maharaj is asking. So as the sages, they heard this question from Parikshit Maharaj. Some of the sages, they were jnanis, some were ashtanga yogis, some were devotees. So they were not able to come up to the agreement. What is the duty of everyone in all circumstances, and what is the duty of a person who is about to die? So therefore, in their minds, they desired the appearance of Shukadeva Goswami. And they were looking in that direction. And Krishna, he sent Shukadeva Goswami. Tatra bhavad bhagavan vyasaputro yadrichayagam atamanon pekshaha alakshyalingo nijalabhatushto vritascha balai avadhuta veshaha. Tatascha tatra abhavat. There came Bhagavan, that Shukdev, that great personality who is Vyasaputra. He is the son of Vyasadev. Yadrichaya, out of his own accord. Nobody called, nobody messaged, nobody sent a mail. Oh, Shukdev Goswami, please, your lecture is there, come. Yadrichaya, being inspired by the Supreme Personality of Godhead, he was traveling anapekshaha, without any interest. He was Alakshya Lingo. Nobody could understand and recognize Shukdev Goswami by his external features. He was Nijalabhatushto, he was completely self-satisfied. And because Shukdev Goswami was not belonging to any varna or ashrama, he was he was naked. He had no Upanayan samskar done. Therefore, he was surrounded by women and children because they were thinking, oh, he's a mad person who has come. So Prabhupada writes that just like if a mad person comes in the public, so generally people, boys and the women, ignorant women, they may come around, they make fun of it. They may make fun of that person. That's what was happening to Shukdev Goswami. Who was Shukdev Goswami? What were his features? He was a 16 years old boy. He was very beautiful. All the limbs of his body, his hands, legs, thighs, arms, shoulder, forehead, they were very beautiful, very nicely, delicately formed eyes. He had a wide, dark eyes, and his nose and ears were highly raised. He had a broad shoulder, and he was looking very beautiful. He was having a blackish complexion. His neck was having three lines like conch shell. His abdomen was beautifully striped. He had a very deep navel, and he had a curly hair which was strewn over his face, and he was looking very, very attractive. He had, that's why he was looking very attractive for the women. So that's how Shukdev Goswami, Suta Goswami describes the features of Shukdev Goswami. Now, as Parikshit Maharaj entered this assembly of big, big people, all the sages, they got up, except few, except Vyasadev, except Narad Muni, except few others. Everyone got up. And all these children and the women, when they understood, they saw, "Arey baap re, itne bade bade log khade ho rahe hain. Kaun hai? Who is this personality?" So they became fearful. They were struck with wonder. They stopped. They went back. So they could also have got the association of Shukdev Goswami. They could have heard Bhagavatam, but no. That is how some people are. Some people, they just like to make fun of the spiritualists. They don't want to take advantage of their association. So Parikshit Maharaj, immediately he got up, bowed down his head in front of Shukdev Goswami, offered him a nice seat. Shukdev Goswami was seated now amongst all these big, big sages and personalities. He was looking like moon between the stars. Very effulgent, very gorgeous, respected by all. That's how he is described here. So amazingly, there were who all were there in the assembly? Vyasdev, he was a Brahma Rishi. Narad Muni, Deva Rishi. Parshuram, he is the incarnation of Lord. So Shukdev Goswami is neither a Brahma Rishi, nor a Deva Rishi, nor an incarnation, but still all these personalities, they are getting up. Apart from them, all are getting up and they are offering respects, and they will be hearing from Shukdev Goswami, Vyasdev, Narad Muni. They will be hearing from Shukdev Goswami. So therefore, Prabhupada writes that the devotee of the Lord gets more respect than the Lord himself. He's honored more than the Lord, and that's what Lord wants. Lord is, one of the features of the Lord is Sarva Saundarya Sangraham. He is most beautiful, and the most beautiful part of his character is he wants to give credit to his devotees. So Shukdev Goswami was honored and he sat on a very elevated seat, peaceful, ready to answer all the questions of Parikshit Maharaj. So Prabhupada writes, this is the wonderful combination. Perfect spiritual master and perfect disciple. Both are renounced. Parikshit Maharaj had nothing to do apart from hearing Bhagavatam. Shukdev Goswami had nothing to do apart from speaking Bhagavatam. Parikshit Maharaj had no job responsibilities, no phone calls to take, nothing. That is the ideal combination. So in first canto of Bhagavatam, there are three kinds of speakers and hearers. First is Shaunak Rishi and Suta Goswami. So Shaunak Rishis, they were distressed. They were involved in the welfare work. So they are considered to be Kanishta. Higher than them is Vyasadev and Narada Muni. Vyasadev was also distressed. He was despondent. But the best combination is Parikshit Maharaj and Shukdev Goswami. So therefore, this is the best combination. Now, Parikshit Maharaj is going to speak the last 8 verses of the first canto. Ahovadya vayam brahman satsevya shatra bandhavaha kripaya tithi rupena bhavadvi tirthika kritaha. Aho, oh wonderful, adya vayam brahman, today, oh brahmana, satsevya shatra bandhava. We are shatra bandhava. He is again expressing his humble position. He is telling we are not even Kshatriyas. We are the fallen relatives of Kshatriyas. Satsevya, but we have become eligible to serve a devotee of the Lord. It is by your mercy only. Kripaya atithi rupena. Out of your mercy, you have come as guest. Bhavadbhi, because you can make holy places into actually places of pilgrimage. Bhavadbhis tirthika kritaha. So devotee, he always feels disqualified to receive the mercy of the Lord. Who am I? Because I have no qualification, so many anarthas, done so many sinful activities. I don't deserve. But Krishna is so merciful, he can deliver even a fallen person like me. So Parikshit Maharaj is considering himself to be so fallen. And he is glorifying Shukdev Goswami. Yesham samsmaranat pumsa shadyo shuddhanti vaigrihat kim punar darshan sparsha pada shaucha sanadibhi. Yesham samsmarana, just by remembering personalities like you, what happens? Sadyo shuddhanti vaigrihat. Our homes become instantly purified and sanctified. Sadhya. Sadhyo ridya varudhyate. Sadhya means immediately. What to speak of? Just by remembering a devotee has such advantage. What to speak of darshan? What to speak of touching the feet of the devotees? What to speak of if somebody gets a chance to wash the feet of the devotees and put water on his head? That is a glorious position of a devotee. What sin can exist in the world which cannot be purified by association of a devotee? Sannidhyate mahayogin patakani mahantyapi sadhyo nashyanti vaipumsam vishnor ive suretara. Sannidhyat, oh great saint, oh Mahayogi, just by your association, Mahapataki, greatest of the sinful activities can be vanquished. Just like when Vishnu appears, no demoniac forces can stay there. Similarly, no sin can stay in front of a devotee. And because devotees, they carry Krishna in their heart, they can purify. In the 10th canto, it is described that when Shukdev Goswami is describing Putana pastime, and he begins the pastime. Sakhe chari ekadotpatya putana balaghatini shishum shachara nignanti puragrama brajadishu. One time, a witch entered the Gokula through the airways. So Parikshit Maharaj became a little fearful because he is into the pastime. He is concerned over what will happen to Krishna. Parikshit Maharaj, Shukdev Goswami says, don't worry. What to speak of Krishna being personally present, even if somebody chants the name of Krishna, there can be no influence of any negative forces there. Na yatra shravanadini raksho ghrani sakarmasu kurvanti satvatam bhartu yatu dhanyascha tatra hi. So therefore, Parikshit Maharaj is also telling that because you are there, how can sin exist? And then he is remembering his relationship with the Pandavas. Api me Bhagavan Prita Krishna Pandu Sutta Priya Paitra Swasya Prityartham Tadgotra Syat Bandhava. O Brahman, O Shukdev Goswami, Krishna has sent you because Krishna loves my uh, grandfathers. Krishna is my grandfathers, my Pandavas. They are very, very dear to Krishna. So therefore, he has sent me. He has sent you. Prabhupada writes, a pure devotee of the Lord, exclusive devotee of the Lord. He serves his family interest, much more dexterously than any other in the world. People they tell, oh, you are taking to Krishna consciousness, who will take care of your family? A devotee can do much, much more than anyone in the world, because Lord gives protection to the family members of devotees, even if they are non-devotees. Still, just like Hiranyakashipu, he was liberated by Narsimhadev because he was related to Prahlad. In the Chaitanya Charitamrita, there is a story of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. He had a son-in-law, Amogha, and he was blaspheming Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And as a result, he suffered typhoid, cholera, and he was about to die. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he went and he delivered. He, you know, uh, completely purified this personality, Amogha. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, "Oh my Lord, why did you do that? He deserved to die." Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, सार्वभौम गृहे दास दासी कुकुर सेहमोर प्रिय अन्य जन रहुदी. Are in the home of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, even servants, what to speak of servants, a dog is dear to me, what to speak of anybody else. That is the wonderful nature of Krishna consciousness. So therefore he is remembering that because Pandavas are very dear to you, that's why Krishna has sent you. Otherwise, how is it possible that I could have association of you? You are not even, visible to the ordinary people. Anyatha te avyakt gatir darshanam na katham rinam. How will I get your darshan? Not possible. Because you are always moving incognito. And then he asks the questions. Atha prichhami samsiddhim yoginam paramam gurum purushasyeha yat karyam riyamanasya sarvatha. Therefore, O Shukdev Goswami, now I am begging you to show the way of perfection, samsiddhi, way of perfection, because you are yoginam paramam gurum, because you are the spiritual master of all the great saints. I have two questions. What is the way of perfection for all the persons? Purashasya yat karyam, and especially for a person who is about to die. And then he asks one more thing. Yashrotavyam matho japyam yat kartavyam nribhi prabho smartavyam bhajaniyam va bruhi yadva viparyayam. O Shukdev Goswami, please tell me what one should hear, chant, remember, worship, and what one should not do. Please explain that in detail. O Brahmana, I know that it is you hardly stay in a person's house for more than a time which is required to milk a cow. Yat go dohanam matram hi. So therefore, I don't know whether I'll find you again. By the will of the Lord, by great fortune, I have got your darshan. So please tell me everything, because I don't know if I'll find you again. So Sud Goswami ends this chapter and ends this canto by telling, thus, king questioned Sukdev Goswami in a very sweet language, and the great personality the son of Vyasdev, began to reply. In the Bhagavad Mahatmya, there is a very interesting thing which is described. As Shukdev Goswami, he was about to begin Bhagavatam. The Devatas came with nectar, celestial nectar, and they told Shukdev Goswami, you are speaking this Bhagavatam because Parikshit is about to die. We will give this nectar to Parikshit and you speak Bhagavatam for us. But Shukdev Goswami said, no. You don't deserve to hear Bhagavatam. And therefore he continued speaking Bhagavatam to Parikshit Maharaj. So that is the glory of Bhagavatam. This is the end of the first canto. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Granthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai. Anybody has any questions? You can ask.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Prabhuji, thank you for the wonderful teacher. Prabhuji, I wanted to ask that why Suta said that to the devatas that they should not hear the Bhagavatam when they had brought nectar?
Because they came with some fruitive motives. They were not pure in their motives. So therefore, although they came to hear Bhagavatam, but they were not qualified, because Bhagavatam should be spoken by the mercy of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, by the mercy of Prabhupada. Anybody can hear Bhagavatam, but actually Bhagavatam is supposed to be spoken only to those people who are having no material motives. Nirmat Saranam Satam. So therefore these devatas, they came with the mood of business, so therefore they were not allowed. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so there are no questions, so we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai.